Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Ebbie with Ebbie Reviews. This is going to be my review for AJ and the Queen, Season 1, Episode 4, Louisville. So, we come back to Robert is driving down the street with AJ. They're on their way to Louisville, and old boy is calling Robert. AJ says people think they hiding, but she sees everything. AJ has to yell at Robert because he's so zoned out and freaked out by the fact that the boyfriend keeps calling, that he almost misses the club entrance to the club, misses turning into the entrance of the club. So they park, and Robert goes to go into the bathroom, and AJ's like, "Don't go in there. Something has died in there." And she was like, "No, that's just my butt pads." And she was like, "Oh God, they smell terrible. Oh God." And so she's like, no worries. We have time to go put it in the washing machine. She's like, we got to be careful at this club because the girls who work at this club are cutthroat and catty, and they're a bunch of bitches. Okay. And they pull up, and she's like, see what I mean? She was like, her picture was instead of being under the guest, where the guest star, her picture wasn't there. It was all the way down at the bottom in the dirt. And she was like, I'm sure there's a Maya Angelou poem about your name being in the dirt. So we come into the backstage area, and the three queens are J. Jolie, Mariah Balenciaga, and Kennedy Davenport. They are all in their boy personas. Don't know what their names is. I just know what their drag names are in real life. So they were just drag queen 1, 2, and 3. So Robert calls Lewis and talks to him about old boy calling him. And that in order to track down AJ's mama, they need AJ's mama's name. And, he's been keeping in contact with the officer Robert. Lewis is under the delusion that's his boyfriend or his fiance. That was going to be his husband next. He let him keep talking. So AJ's mama on the flip side is at the cell phone store trying to get a new cell phone so she can keep in contact with baby girl. On which there is no help because she ain't got no money, and they like, no ma'am, if you need a new phone, new plans are $200. $200 deposit, we're gonna need that up front, sis. That's just what that is. So she cussed the lady out and leave. So the cop comes, Lewis says she's going to talk to old boy about him speaking to a cop in town to see what can be done. And so the cop comes to see Ruby at the club, and apparently he's been to the club several times before. That Kennedy Davenport said that that's her man, and you're not going to take him. And then Mariah Balenciaga is like, well, after she's done, then that's my man. And then J. Jolie walks up to her, and she was like, what? Then after she's done, that's your man? She was like, no, I like Asians. Okay. Well, all right, bitch. So they have a little conversation, and he tells her that, you should go online and warn the other drag queens about him. Make a post, put his picture, tell your stories to help of the other girls avoid this happening to them as well. So, Ruby then goes backstage after talking to the cop, and her makeup case is missing. And she was like, I know you bitches didn't take my makeup. How low do you really have to be to take another girl's makeup? And so she was like, oh, so y'all want to play these games? Okay, bet. We'll play these games. All right, pop, fizz, bitches. So she grabs Kennedy Davenport's makeup case off of the dresser, and she holds it out the window, and she's like, where's my makeup case? And she was like, ain't nobody take your makeup case. She's like, where's my motherfucking? She said, you got one more time. Where's my case? Where's my makeup? And he's like, we don't know where your makeup is. None of us took your makeup. And she's like, okay, cool. And drops the makeup case out the window, breaks up all of her shit. As that happens, the lovely stage manager comes in and said, Ruby, I put your makeup case in the office because I didn't want to leave it unattended. Damn. know how to ruin a good time. So Ruby apologizes profusely and says, I'm going to go and replace the makeup now. And she was like, and that was good black girl makeup. Don't be thinking you're going to come in here and try and trick me with no Maybelline. Quiet as a cat. Don't sleep. Don't sleep on Maybelline. Okay. So Ruby goes out to replace Kennedy's makeup, and the boyfriend calls to apologize. And Ruby is like, give the money back. And he was like, I can't, I spent it. She was like, it's been a week. You spent $100,000 in a week? And he's like, well, she's like, it's Amex, it's a theft. She was like, yeah. He's like, Amex will cover it, it's a theft. She was like, not if I gave you access to my account, they won't. So he says, well, he's going to try and scrape up $10,000. He's like, how much money did you give the one-eyed lady, crazy lady, who is the one who gave him the idea to steal the money from her anyway? And he was like, well, she spent her money on a Birkin bag. Okay, on a Birkin bag, bitch. Okay, so now when Ruby came to the club, she was like, oh, I'm going to sit here next to Brian. Where's Brian? And they said Brian hasn't been here for months. We don't know where Brian is. He doesn't return calls. He doesn't return texts. We worried he's maybe sick. After the crazy conversation, which I didn't believe to begin with, it seemed really incongruous with this whole story. You see the one-eyed crazy lady in the bowling alley doing some kind of dancing, some body rolls for this old white man who's like, and so she takes him in the bathroom and gives him some fillers and charges him $3,000. She's like, you see, you look better already. What stroke? Sis. So the boyfriend comes into the bathroom and he tells crazy lady that, yeah, it worked. He believed me. Now all we have to do is sit around, wait for a week, and he'll meet us. And so I knew it was a trap. So, Ruby is getting ready to do her big performance of Chandelier by Rihanna, and she's supposed to be on these wires and things, and so she gets ready to perform her number, and she gets pulled up into the air, and then her wires start acting crazy and jerky, and you look off to the side of the stage, and AJ sees it's the poor stage manager trying to hold on to the rope and heft her up, and she goes to help her, and J. Jolie, Kennedy Davenport, and Mariah are standing over there cackling and laughing, talk about they paid. She's like, what happened to the big dude? And she was like, we paid him to go away and leave her there. And so they struggling trying to, they're struggling trying to get her to not to try and control her while she's in the air trying to perform Chandelier, and they lose grip on the rope and she falls really hard to the stage. She's down there for a second, and then she pops back up and still continues on with her number and kills it. And then she rolls over to the Three Bitches of Eastwick, and she's like, and bitches, that's why I am a performer, and you owe me for such and such and so. So I don't forget what she said, what they owe her for. But she was like, listen, and that makeup that I purchased you was all clearance, so enjoy your pink eye, bitch. I said, oh, shit, okay. Oh, no. Now, as she's approaching the... No. They were at the laundromat the next day washing clothes. And so the night before, when Ruby was getting ready to perform, right before she went out on stage, she said, AJ, watch my phone. Well, while she was doing that, AJ decided to take it upon herself to put a post telling Ruby's entire story about the man grifting her, putting the man's picture up, the whole thing. Ruby had told her that she wasn't going to do that because she wasn't strong enough to handle, everybody knowing what happened to her. And AJ did it anyway. So the next morning when they are at the laundromat washing and folded clothes and stuff, Ruby sees the post. And she was like, did you do this? And so she grabs all the stuff and she runs into the van, and Ruby is hollering, wait for me, wait for me. Of course she doesn't. And she was like, I told you I wasn't strong enough to handle this. And she was like, well, you were strong enough to check them bitches at the club. And Robert was like, I didn't do that. Ruby did that. And she was like, if I thought I was strong enough, do you even think there would be a Ruby? I wouldn't need this alter ego if I was a strong enough person to handle these type of situations. So then she gets a call from Brian, who's been missing this entire episode, but everybody's talking about him. Turns out to be Chad Michaels. I should have known because they were talking about Brian as the Cher impersonator. And she was like, "Who does the Cher?" And they're like, "We share." So they talk, and we find out that Brian was also grifted by the boyfriend. He stole all his money. So they get there and they talk about what happened, and then Brian hired a private investigator, and he gave Ruby the information that he got from the private investigator. I'm almost done. I am so sorry, y'all. It's the end of a long day. So she gets Brian back up on her feet so she can go perform at the club and get back on her feet and stop being depressed before she be broken outside and homeless. So inadvertently, Brian and Robert are sitting at the bar, and Brian inadvertently gives Robert some hope when Robert is like, well, at least his kisses were worth the amount of money that was stolen from me. He's like, here to $100,000 lips. And Brian is like, he kissed you? He never kissed me. He said he had a thing about kissing, which, okay, like I said, gives him inadvertent hope with the bullshit line that he ran before, that he was special. And so I think that's where maybe they may end up going with this story, happily ever after situation. I don't know. We'll see. Because we then go to the one-eyed lady and the boyfriend in a car in the front of in a deserted bowling alley. They now sitting in their car, and the cops pull up. Now Ruby gave the plate number to the cops, so the cops are actively looking for this man. So she was like, the one-eyed lady told boyfriend, kiss me. And he was like, what? And she was like, why else would we be sitting in a car in a deserted parking lot in the middle of the night? Kiss me. And so they start kissing, and then the officer asked them to roll down the window, and she was like, we've been looking for a car like yours. What do you, if I run the plates, what do you think is going to happen? And so the lady pulls up she was like, my lips are chapped from all this kissing. Can I just get my chapstick out of my purse? And she was like, keep your hands where I see them. She's like, oh, it's right here, officer. And then she's like, oh God, where's the chapstick? And she keeps pulling out wads of cash. And she was like, I don't know where my chapstick could be. And she has all this cash in her hands. And she was like, oh my God, the ops was like, that's a lot of money, ma'am. And she was like, yeah, you want some? And so she was like, the cop was like, oh, is that a Birkin bag? Because my wife has always wanted a Birkin bag. And so they bribed her with the Birkin bag, and the cop drives away. And at that point, the boyfriend says, that's it, I'm done chasing her. I'm done chasing this queen. And she was like, and one-eyed crazy lady was like, yeah, we should just kill her instead. You're right. We tired of chasing her. Let's just kill her instead. And he was like, I'm not going to kill someone because I stole money from them. I'm not going to do this. And she was like, are you going to kill her for this? And then she turns around and shows her phone where the post is. And she was like, yeah, I thought you changed your mind then. And that is pretty much how that episode ended. I am... like, I want to binge watch the show, but I'm trying to have discipline. So I'm leaving AJ and the Queen alone until next Sunday, when I will post the next review for episode 5 and then 6 on Wednesday. So if you have binge watched it, did you like this episode? If you are watching it one at a time with me, which That's amazing. Thank you so much. Do you think they're gonna try and force a happily ever after? Like he's gonna magically realize that he's gay and that he loves Robert? Because I feel like that's where they're trying to force it to go. I don't know. We shall see. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.